Randy Orton's heel turn, Oba Femi answers Brock Lesnar's challenge, and the road to WrestleMania 42 is finally taking shape. This is Kent, and this is Fanatically Speaking. Let's go. This is a wrestling episode getting closer and closer to WrestleMania 42. Few things have happened to make that road take shape. And then we've got some confirmed matches, and then we've got matches that are possibilities. So I'm getting into all of that. First off, have to get into the heel turn. This was foreshadowed for a while. This was talked about for a while. This name was on my list of who could turn at any moment soon, and it turned out to be Randy Orton, who is known for his heelish ways. He is the Viper, can strike anytime with the RKO, and when he's a good guy face, he does it, and you just kind of like, ah ha ha ha. It was kind of like the stunner. The RKO is like a stunner when Randy is a face. He does it to anybody, and you just laugh it off and say, oh, that's just Randy Orton RKOing anybody. It hits a little bit different when he's a heel, the way he does it, and then that next step that he takes, the punting of the head or the vicious attack, whatever that may be. And this is what happened, recently to Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion. So all this of course, happened. It got formed by Cody getting another chance, beating Drew McIntyre for the title abruptly on SmackDown, a match that was made right after Elimination Chamber because Drew McIntyre keeps interfering. So Cody gets the title. A week later, we get the contract signing, and as we know, contract signings always go smoothly in the WWE, just like a wedding. So you get Orton, you get Cody, they're buddies, they're friends, they've got that history, and you get Cody just saying, hey, Randy, I get it. You're going to have to, I want you to be Randy. I want you to be that Viper in the ring. And then we'll, afterwards, then we're back to being buds, basically. And Randy, of course, attacks Cody. He turns heel. Now, the crowd is reacting they're cheering, and they're in a favorable position at the moment with Randy. And even the heel turn, I think they wanted it. They're a little, I don't know what you call it with Cody right now. He gets that John Cena treatment. So it's like they love him. And then at times it's like, okay, here it is again. Anytime it happens to anybody who is a face. It's the hardest thing to do in wrestling is be a face. Easy to be a heel, easy to make people hate you. It's very hard to keep, the fans and everyone liking you, because some fans they are what they are, right? They like to not like you. They want you to change no matter what. So he is in that Cena level right now, right? He's been that baby face since he came back. And then I think some of the storylines kind of hurt him in some ways with fans. But either way, Randy attacks him. He's bleeding. He busts him with the steps, smashes his face, all these things. And I wanted to look at it because I think it's a little different than the past this is the third year in a row someone's turned heel, leading to WrestleMania on Cody Rhodes. And a couple of different reasons why. We go back to that build up to WrestleMania 40. Roman Reigns already the tribal chief. He was the champion for, 1,000 days, all these things. And he was the heel. And Cody was chasing that title, history, his finish his story, all these things. And WWE thought, of course, it would be a good idea to bring in The Rock, take Cody's spot, and we get Rock Roman, which is a huge match. But everyone wanted Cody to finish this story and get that title for once in his life. Dusty never got it. Cody wants it. Let's get it done. So the fans did not react well to that. So they ended up flipping that on its head. Rock turned heel into the final boss. Turned out to be a great decision, great lead up to WrestleMania, great WrestleMania, maybe if not the greatest, main event ever. But so you had The Rock turn heel because he kind of had to. The fans, they were not going to react well. We still had, at the time, it was still like months away. It was like, this is never going to go over. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to ruin a good match in Rock and Roman, because any other time, any other year, that's a main event and a match that everyone wants to see. The other one would be no one's going to want whatever match you give Cody, because they want Cody Roman for that title. So 40 happened. Rock turned heel. Turned out to be great. Now, of course, The Rock goes back and forth if he's The Rock or he's Dwayne Johnson. And sometimes it muddies the waters of the storylines, right? That's the only part right now, is he just doesn't stay what he is at the time. He'll come back. He'll be the, TKO board member, whatever. And then, chairman of the board, whatever he is, right? And then, or sometimes he comes back and then he is the final boss. So we never know what he's going to be. So it kind of muddies the lines of what exactly we're getting with The Rock. And then, of course, last year, Rock, of course, came back too, this time as the final boss with Cody's soul. And we get Cena turning heel, which was obviously done for shock value to, make a moment. And it just kind of fell flat at Mania with the match and Travis Scott. And then they had to basically redo it at SummerSlam. So with Orton this time, it is different, but my question was, did we need Orton to turn heel to make this match as big as it is and be that main event for night one, which I assume it will be? Because you would have face versus face. You're kind of already getting that with Punk and Reigns, but Punk and Reigns are a different type of face. They're that Stone Cold Rock type of face right now, where Roman is loved. He still has those traits as the tribal chief, the OTC, but he's still Roman, and he's not, quite bloodline level ordering and being that, heelish person. Punk is always on the edge with his promos, with, things like that. Obviously, he's a good guy. But so you already got face versus face there for that world title. So it would be kind of weird to have two title matches face versus face, but they could have done it. And why they did this was basically the way they laid it out, right? The history between Randy and Cody goes back, obviously, to Legacy, that Cody was a member. So Randy was the veteran. He was the leader. And now, of course, we're at a different level where Randy is still the OG. Cody's right behind him, though. And Cody is now the guy. And Randy hasn't been champ for a while. But as we mentioned, how they got here, it was because Drew, messed with the Elimination Chamber, in which made Randy win. And then Randy's thinking, I'm going to face Drew. As he told Cody, I was prepared to face Drew. Like, this wasn't supposed to be like this. Like, you ended up getting the title, and he was ready to become the Viper of old almost, to be able to go out and beat Drew and get that number 15 championship. But he gets Cody instead, and he explained that, and then, of course, turned heel. It was probably the better move. I don't think it's the time for Cody to turn heel, because he is still probably right up there in merchandise. The kids love him, and he is on John Cena level of everything he does. So to have him turn heel now would be a little... it could happen, but you got to lead up to something like that. Again, we don't need another, a shock value turn like last year with Cena, being a babyface his whole career, basically, just about. And then you turn him heel in his last year. But you don't even need that right now with Cody. The timing has to be right. Randy is a guy who could turn anytime, and you're gonna get the best heel probably in the business while he is that heel. And what we've seen lately is, since that attack, it's the voices in his head. He's on the phone. Who is he on the phone with? There's a lot of rumors out there about that. Is it The Rock? I even heard, is it Ted DiBiase Jr., another member that was a part of Legacy? Is it Triple H? Is it, who could it be on the phone that he's talking to now that he's doing when he does these interviews? And that's a really good question. Does it have anything to do with him, or is it just he's on the phone? Right? That's a really good question, right? because The Rock should still be after Cody if we're following storylines. He shouldn't just be okay with Cody still, right? The other thing, we've seen Orton be similar to Cena was last year, and it's just kind of like doing the same, like kicking people between the legs and then RKOing and then, beating them up and things like that. He did this to Matt Cardona recently on SmackDown, took him out, attacked him. Now Jelly Roll tried to talk some sense into him backstage, and they actually hugged, and Orton didn't attack Jelly Roll. So he hasn't completely lost his mind yet where he's attacking Jelly Roll, his buddy from SummerSlam, his tag team partner. But Cardona, a friend of Cody, kind of standing up to him, and Orton took him out. So he's on this path, and I'm sure we're going to get Cody. Obviously, we'll get him before Mania, some confrontation, and what Cody are we going to get where he attacks Randy, and what is going to be the reaction from the fans. Now, the fans at Mania, the Raw, SmackDown around Mania, you don't ever know what you're going to get with fans because last year they booed Cody. And again, he's got that Cena treatment right now where sometimes the fans boo him and sometimes they cheer him, and sometimes he's still not, he's not getting the pop that he was getting, a few years ago, but he still gets the pop. But the fans are really tricky. It depends on what city and what they want. So again, they're loving Randy right now being the heel. So Randy's they're going to have to make it something happen here, where Cody can get the fans behind him maybe. I don't know what that might be. How is this match going to turn out? Like, Cody just won the title. Is he going to lose the title like last year? Or does Randy get 15? Or does Randy, lose and stay heel? What's the next step? I mean, we obviously see the Sami Zayn stuff where he is also, trending, to be heel as he keeps getting stalked by Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, who basically, good old creative just plugged them into the Karrion Kross Scarlett role. And they are now doing again to Sammy what was done by Kross and Scarlett. So we're reliving that. So again, that's a whole nother conversation about WWE creative, as we talked about some other stuff with the Masked Men and all that, and they've actually made that somewhat, they've turned that around, made it somewhat believable, and saved that storyline to be Seth Rollins' kind of gimmick at the moment with his return and his diversion of all these masked men, and you don't know which one is him. And so they did save that. But as far as the, Sami Zayn, again, I think you were getting the foreshadowing there, and I don't want to go on off the rail here with that. But, Orton is heel, so is Sami Zayn. He's had his moments with Cody, so is that the next step for Sami, is to be Cody's next opponent? It's really, it's not my time to make predictions of WrestleMania, but I can definitely talk about it a little bit. But I think the heel turn, if you're going to turn one of them, they made the right decision with Randy. It's just, 3 years in a row, someone has had to turn heel to face Cody. So you would think maybe we would get, a better lead up to Mania. But again, the match itself, the Cody-Randy, is a huge match. It's a match that everyone wanted. Sometimes it takes longer to get there. There's always this debate about when does the road to WrestleMania, 42, road to WrestleMania start. Is it Rumble? But then you got Chamber, and sometimes you get Raw, SmackDowns, that big things happen. And in recent years, we have definitely got changes at Raw and SmackDown that have really changed storylines. And they were big changes, and some were necessary and made sense, and then some didn't. As I mentioned always before, it's WrestleMania. You got to have the biggest names, the biggest matches. And, sorry, Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu, but Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, they are the big names for this big match for the title. And we're finally getting it. And, so, again, Randy Orton's heel turn was I'm not going to say it was necessary. I'm just saying he was the right one out of those two to turn. But hey, let's think of something different next year. Just letting you know, as we next year, let's think of something different with Cody, as not another someone turning heel, so he'll have to face a turned heel. Why don't we just go ahead and have a heel, have a storyline built up leading up to Mania. Okay, so as we lead up to Mania, the another big match, and it is a big match, and we finally get, well, an answer. We didn't have to wait long for the answer to Brock Lesnar's challenge, and it was answered by the man who I said was the next big thing, Oba Femi. And he's the next big thing. Brock was the next big thing. Now Oba is the next big thing. And he answers the call, though, in a different way. One of these swerves, one of these misdirections. We've had a lot of stuff going on with the Vision and Seth Rollins. Obviously, Seth with the, curb stomp to Paul Heyman, Logan Paul, Austin Theory. They've been chasing around, masked men and can't get their hands on Seth. So this time Raw, of course, started off with a Seth in the ring, and Paul comes out all beat up, bruised, whatever. And he leads up really well with this, right? Really great start to Raw. One of the best starts I've ever seen. Opening, an opening to Raw. So Seth, Heyman, of course, talks about, FA and FO, and he keeps saying it, and then he says F5. And we know what that means. That means Brock Lesnar. And it's funny, the connection with Brock and Paul, but they are true to themselves. They stay together no matter what. He's not a member of the Vision, but Paul is still his advocate. So now we get Brock coming out, and everybody's getting excited because now Brock is, he's coming after Seth for payback for what Seth has done to Paul Heyman. Now Brock goes on, Brock sometimes can be careless with stuff. He goes and he starts attacking these masked men, and he is suplexing them everywhere with no regard for their safety whatsoever. Some of them took some hard bumps all over the place, and everyone, you hold your breath and make sure they fall not on the top of their head and not into something. But so we're getting, that he's in the ring, and Seth is just looking at him, and now it's like, okay, Seth, Brock at Mania, I can live with that. We've seen it, but that's okay. Two of the biggest stars, I like it. And then we get that music, and Oba makes his way to the ring, and Seth is just looking, and he again Brock kind of looks like he's gonna go after Seth, and Seth kind of slides out of the way, out of the ring, and as he turns around, oh my God, have you ever seen Brock Lesnar take a move like he did, the fall from grace from Oba Femi, and the chills you get, the impact it had, it was absolutely incredible. And to have Brock Lesnar manhandled like that again, you probably haven't seen that ever. I don't know if I ever seen it with the Big Show, Undertaker, anybody in recent memory, just to have Brock Lesnar up in the air like that, for a move like that on Brock Lesnar. And just give Oba Femi all the credit in the world. Again, he is making, since he's been caught up, he is making the best of his chance and his moment. He's ready for that main event scene. He has, I again talked about this before. He has the gimmick. He has the entrance. The crowd is loving him. He performs in the ring. He's good on the mic. To be, right out of NXT, I mean, have you ever seen someone just come up and just all of a sudden have star power like Oba Femi? And then what else helps that besides, manhandling the beast Brock Lesnar? So Brock Lesnar, of course, had this open challenge. It was kind of weird. You read stuff that they didn't know what to do with Brock Lesnar. I even read where Brock Lesnar said he wasn't going to lose again before his retirement. It keeps that in the back of your mind about who's going to win this match. There's no shame, I don't think, in Oba losing to a legend of Brock Lesnar, and there's no, Brock has taken losses before for the better, you know, for the betterment of the company. It's, you know, does it make sense? And with Brock, it's always about, does it make sense? And I don't think anyone's going to force him to do anything. He's taken losses to Goldberg. He's taken losses to Bobby Lashley. He's taken losses to, plug in the name, right? Drew McIntyre, so it's not the first time. This is a tricky one because, again, Oba is really, really young, coming right out of NXT. He is, as I say, the next big thing, the next big thing. Brock, the OG big thing. I don't know which one. Oba has all the momentum in the world. Where would he go after this, right? Where would he go? If he beats Brock, it's what's next? The title? He manhandled Rusev, beat him. He's now manhandling Brock. We don't know if he's going to beat him. And then what's Brock history? Does he lose and take time off like he does and then show back up? Is there going to be, a back and forth between the two, make this longer than WrestleMania, make it go to SummerSlam? There's all kinds of possibilities. But again, I go back and just continue to say, Oba's the next big thing. He is the guy. This open challenge, though, everybody wanted Oba to answer it. It was just, will it happen? Because you got to think about who could answer it. They had us thinking Rollins. What the heck is Gunther going to do at Mania? Gunther. Like I said, he retires Cena and Styles, and then it's like, what is he going to do? But it was a really good question. They even thought, maybe Royce Keys. Who is going to answer this challenge and face Brock Lesnar? And you thought maybe it would get closer to Mania. Maybe no one would answer it until Mania. But I think they did it right. The swerve, the misdirection was really, really well done. And again, to have that moment on Raw gets you excited for WrestleMania. The things that we talk, everyone's like, oh man, it's a slow build. It was a slow build. You had the Punk and Reigns, and it's like, okay, now what? What else are we getting? And now you're like, okay, this got me excited. The heel turn gets you excited. The promos with, Punk and Roman. So again, this, Oba answering the call, fall from grace to Brock gets you excited. Again, he's got it all. So again, I put him above all the others that are young up and coming. Yeah, push this man. Yeah, push him to the top. Again, he could be anybody. It doesn't matter. You can fantasy book all day about, who could he face? Roman, Cody, Drew, anybody, he is a monster of a man, and just wait until he gets that title. It will happen sooner than later. I really do believe that. Also, but he could be an attraction, right? Like Brock is being billed as that attraction, like The Undertaker. Oba could become that for the moment, the time being. Time will tell. But again, this has got everyone excited, and that road to WrestleMania is shaping up. So next, let's talk about what we're in store for Mania and what's the possibilities. All right, so the road to WrestleMania is shaping up finally. Again, it was a slow build. We're getting the matches. We're getting the, what is confirmed, what is possibilities. There's all kinds of hints going on at the shows. And we're going to talk about now, kind of everything involved in WrestleMania weekend, and we'll go through the matches and how we got here and what could possibly happen. The first thing I really want to get into is, we've gotten the WWE Hall of Fame. It is taking shape as well. We got Stephanie McMahon, AJ Styles, long overdue demolition. And then recently we got, we found out that Dennis Rodman will go in the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame. And this one kind of had me scratching my head because I've got a list of names, and it could be, there's probably more, right? These are just the ones that I was like, bam, bam, bam. These are guys who are actually people who are actually in the WWEF, whatever, that could have probably gone in before Dennis Rodman, because if you know, Dennis Rodman was in the NWO. I understand that they own all the rights of WCW, but Dennis Rodman was in the NWO. He was in the, WCW, battling with, it was Hogan and Rodman, NWO against DDP, Karl Malone. If you watch that, right? Well, here's who they could have put in the Hall of Fame, and I get it. It's a, Hall of Fames are really, that's great, and some people, some performers or wrestlers are definitely like locks, and then other ones that they put in, it's kind of like where were they on the list? And you got to think about this with celebrities. I mean, WWE here could have put in Lawrence Taylor. I mean, he main evented a WrestleMania against Bam Bam Bigelow. You could have went with the valets of Pam Anderson, Jenny McCarthy. You could have went with Cyndi Lauper, right? I mean, why is she not in the Hall of Fame? Stephen Amell, he wrestled Stardust and Cody, Butterbean, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Maria Menounos, Snooki. I mean, later you're gonna get Bad Bunny and Jelly Roll. Jon Stewart has been involved. Johnny Knoxville performed at WrestleMania, defeated Sami Zayn. Rob Gronkowski, Shaq. If you want to go the musical or host or special announcer, things like that, you could go Living Color. I mean, Kid Rock's in. So Living Color, they have CM Punk's, entrance. Like, how iconic is that song? Limp Bizkit with Undertaker. How iconic. Motorhead with Triple H. Liberace, again, he's gone, but you could do Liberace, Regis Philbin, Alex Trebek, Aretha Franklin. These are all people they could have put in over, Dennis Rodman. I get it. You got to kind of throw WCW part of wrestling a bone here because they are no more. But again, I think you could have went different ways before you went down that path of Rodman. You could have went with some people, celebrities, definitely like a Cyndi Lauper or Lawrence Taylor, because of their, I think the history of their moment in the WWE. It wasn't just, hey, we did WrestleMania, or we were involved in wrestling. It was the fact that they are historically involved in WrestleMania, and the fact that at the first WrestleMania was Cyndi Lauper, and she had roles in Rockin' Wrestling Connection and the music videos with Captain Lou Albano involved, and again Lawrence Taylor, against main eventing at WrestleMania. How is he not in the Hall of Fame over Dennis Rodman? It is kind of a head scratcher as well. It's a head scratcher. As far as WrestleMania and these main event, and even the matches that are not main events, I wanted to get into the match, not really talk about them, every single one of them, but let's talk about what the confirmed matches are, and then let's talk about possible matches. But we are talking about Celebrity Wing, right? I just talked about Dennis Rodman, the Celebrity Wing. Speaking of that, I feel like something is coming with the Tom Brady stuff. You've heard Tom Brady make some comments. You've seen Logan Paul calling out Tom Brady. Brady saying wrestling's fake, they're not like football players, and it's in Vegas. He's part owner of the Vegas Raiders. They're going to be in, their stadium, at Allegiant Stadium. So could Tom Brady be the celebrity that's involved in WrestleMania? I think Jelly Roll will. I feel like that's building up. He's, having his stuff with Kit Wilson, The Miz. That could go many different ways. But I think Tom Brady could either have a match, appearance, something. It won't be with Logan Paul. But I could see something happening maybe where he could be making an appearance as we're speaking about what could happen in the matches. Only because he's really, you could see him, you could see maybe him and Gronk, but I think Gronk might have got hurt in that flag football game over the weekend. So I could see that happening. Something with Tom Brady. They're kind of, again, hinting. It's being teased. We shall see. But as far as the confirmed matches, the big one that was the first one, it is the main event. It is going to end night 2 WrestleMania, is CM Punk Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. And so far we've gotten some really good promos. And it's kind of getting personal. Punk originally, said he was going to put Roman in the ground with his dad, which they took offense. The Usos took offense. And then Roman comes back and, calls Punk old. And that gets Punk to punch him. So now it's like, what's the next move? What's the next promo? I think Roman's probably penciled in, for a couple more Raws before Mania. And again, the match is the match. You've got, two of the biggest stars, both of the man on Raw. Roman, of course, not quite full time. He, I don't think the Bloodline's getting back together. They gave you those moments on Raw where he's sitting in the back talking to his cousins, the Usos. Obviously, they had his back against Punk and the family. And again, you look to this, you just say, who makes sense to win this match? Who benefits from it? It's a very tricky one because it's what's next. It's always, that's what you have to think about. The same as the other matches. It's what's next. What if this guy loses? What if this guy wins? What's the next storyline involved? Who is next in line? Punk, I think Punk has a lot of unfinished business with, you can say, the Vision, even Seth Rollins, even though he's not, he's now he's a good guy. Even Roman, they all have kind of the same issues waiting on them from the same types of people: a Braun Breaker, a Bronson Reed, a Seth Rollins, if we're just speaking about Raw. Also, again, Brock Lesnar, Oba, that match matters because could that lead to the next one? Do you get a rematch? Is Roman, can Roman have the title and be part-time? All these things matter. All these things make sense. And then you also, especially with these title matches, you have to look and say, what about next year? Now, again, I say penciled in with Saudi Arabia because there's a lot going on over there. WrestleMania 43, as Paul Heyman said, you have to be planning WrestleMania 43 now as you're planning WrestleMania 42. And it makes sense with this match, especially because if you get the dream match of Rock and Roman, do you need the title? And that's getting way ahead of myself. But do you need the title for a year on Roman to face The Rock, or do you need the title at all? Does Roman need to be that type of guy? Cody's surviving this where he can lose a match and come back and win it. Is Roman the same? Again, the last time he was champion, it was over 1,000 days. So I don't know who makes the most sense to win this match. Punk has it. I think, again, this was the match that wasn't originally planned. You got to think somehow Punk, Vision, Rollins somehow was involved. But here we are. And Roman's trying to get on top. He's trying to get on top by himself and prove to himself that he can win without his family, even though he has his family right now. I think the next few appearances on Raw by him will tell a lot about this match. It could go many ways. Do the Usos get involved? There's really no one with Punk, so it's kind of Punk against Roman, or it's going to be the Bloodline rebuilt in a different version. And I don't know if that's going to happen, but again, I feel like they don't really ever know what they're doing with Jey Uso. So I think it's a week basis that they do this writing and these planning with creative, especially with like a Jey Uso. The other match, the next match, going to get into. We have confirmed again Cody, Randy, and I spoke on that. I think either way we're good. You could build something off of either one. I would lean Cody winning that match. But again, I'm not here making predictions at the moment. I'm just saying that's a confirmed match. We've got Oba Brock. Already talked about that too. Not ready to call it. But again, what a huge match that is. Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill. And, I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, I was really leaning towards Rhea. They've been having some pretty good promos. I think everyone is on the Jade hate train. I don't know that it's just not necessarily her fault that she hasn't had to defend her title. That goes back to the creative and that title, tag titles, women's U.S. title, that just doesn't get defended for whatever reason. But that's not her fault. I think she's a really good heel. Now she's got a stable. Now she's got B-Fab and Meechin. So that's kind of different, But I know someone else who could be main event level with a title and with a stable. Chelsea Green, yeah. But they keep dropping the ball, at least for the moment. They don't want to give her quite give her the keys to the title and to the city, right? It's going to be a great match. Rhea's a professional; she'll make it a great match. I think Jade can do fine, but you do have two powerhouses in this match. But that is confirmed for that women's WWE Championship. The other is the Liv Morgan Stephanie Vicaire for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship, and that is also confirmed. And what can you say? I think you'll get a great match. Am I pumped about it? I mean, it's on my lower level of, am I pumped? I mean, like I said, Liv has a great gimmick. She's Judgment Day. Now apparently she's the leader of Judgment Day. So Vicaire, unbelievable talent, unbelievable performer. This could be one where you see Liv getting the title to help build Judgment Day into something different. And in Judgment Day, I always talk about how they're always evolving into something different. They've kicked Finn out. And Liv is kind of like the leader. So what else can a leader have than the main title? And I believe Liv Morgan will do that. Even though I'm not making predictions, but I keep saying them. Speaking of Judgment Day, possible matches now. We've got confirmed possibles. Is that Dominic Mysterio Finn Balor match? Does Dom get the IC title back? I don't know. If not, then we're just getting Dirty Dom and Finn, straight up, a little straight up match. Then what does that mean for Penta, right? I mean, you put the title on him, but is there enough time to build a feud that we care about for the IC title with Penta? That's my next question, right? Do we care enough? Do we care enough about who could you put against Penta that you would be invested in being oh yeah, I can't wait to see who wins this match for this title. I've got nothing. So, I mean, you can throw a name in there. You can have a match, but are you going to be invested in that match? Different title, and it feels like we're getting it, but could there be a swerve somewhere in here? Is the Julia and Tiffy for the Women's United States Championship, and why is it not Chelsea? Only if she's not medically cleared with her foot and her ankle. Could I see her not being involved? But you see the teasing, you see the hints of Chelsea and Tiffy. You got that. She still shows up with Julia and Kiana. And, again, do I care enough about Tiffy and Julia at Mania? I don't think Julia is going to get it done. Are they going to put on a great match? For sure. They'll put on a unbelievable match. They're both great wrestlers, athletic, and all that fun stuff. But again, am I invested in Julia? No. I cannot knock her enough that something else has to happen for her. Something else has to get people wanting to watch her wrestle, wanting to see matches of her. And right now, it's just not it. So I just got those names listed here. Tiffy versus Julia, and where is Chelsea Green in all of that? Another one I think we almost know we're going to get, and this is one I talked about, whoever won Elimination Chamber, you're getting the rematch at Mania, and that's the AJ Lee, Becky Lynch for the women's IC title. I think that's a foregone conclusion. It's just, hey, we're waiting on it to be announced. The Usos versus the Vision, Logan Paul, Austin Theory. I don't see any other match that could happen where I care about the Usos and the tag titles. And not unless Javon Evans wants to join the New Day and Kofi Kingston, then I'd be invested. But we are getting that I think they're going to wrestle on Raw, and then non-title. I believe. So then, based off that match, then you can get that build to the title match. Drew and Jacob Fatu, they were supposed to have a match on SmackDown, and then they beat each other up all over the arena all night long, parking lot. Drew crashed his car into Jacob's. Then they both are wrestling on some kind of tower, scaffold. I don't know. And they both fell off. And that's how SmackDown, they ended with them, getting help. They fell off. I think you get that at Mania, and I'm okay with that. Again, Fatu not quite ready for that main event, right? Title at WrestleMania scene. But maybe that changes this year, and maybe it will build off of this match. Another one that I had talked about, and you keep seeing hints of it, is the women's tag title match. It's Lash Legend, Nia Jax. They are the champions now. You're gonna get that with Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, the Bellas, and I think Bayley and Lyra. I think you get a 4-way. I think you get a fatal 4-way tag title match, or however you want to do it. Call it a tornado tag. I don't care. But that's going to be the women's tag match, I believe. And you're getting, again, all the little moments where, Bayley, Lyra are going to go to Nick Aldis for that match. And or do they go to Aldis or Pierce? Yeah, whoever they go to. They've been switching lately, so I think it's Raw. Yeah, so Pierce. They'll go to Pierce. They'll go to Adam Pierce and get that match. Flair Bliss, of course, cost the Bellas the match. Got involved, all that with Lash and Nia. So a 4-way there. Do we get something with Solo and Uncle Howdy, MFT and the Wyatt Six? I mean, they no longer have the tag titles. Because that's on Priest and R-Truth, which I don't really get. And it's just one of that's wrestling for you, where you get these odd combinations, especially a comedic character with a real, I hate to call R-Truth comedic, but he is. And then you get Priest, who, all of a sudden gets kind of stuck in this, but they are tag champions. Now, do they get a match at Mania? That remains to be seen, because, again, the Six and MFTs just keep getting involved in each other. Solo, Howdy, somewhere, somehow, I think they have to be involved. Question marks beside Carmelo Hayes. Is he going to do open challenge? I mean, it's kind of weird because Brock had a challenge, but somebody, I think he gets a match. He should. Sami Zayn, does he even have a match? LA Knight, does he have a match? What is their pass at Mania? Are they just not gonna, wrestle? I mentioned Jelly Roll. Is it Kit Wilson? Is it The Miz? What are we getting at Mania? Is it some sort of a tag match? And who would be Jelly Roll's partner? Now he needs a new partner. Randy Orton is, gone mad. Seth Rollins, he's still injured. Read today, Braun Breaker going to be, trying to get medically cleared at the Performance Center. Is Seth even ready? Because the only match for Seth would be Braun Breaker. Gunther, what are we doing with Gunther? Like I said, he beats Cena, retires Cena and AJ Styles, and then they have nothing for him. So, do we? I mean, if he goes for any title, like the U.S. title, I mean, do we care? Is something else going to come about it? He's kind of just stuck in no man's land. That's a very, and we haven't seen him since he, destroyed Dragon Lee. Thank God. Again, we got about a month, so I got question marks beside all of this, because what is going to, I don't even have an answer. Like, we've built nothing up. They've built nothing up for these guys. Not really. When you talk about a Carmelo Hayes, a Gunther, Sammy in L.A., I don't want to see Sammy and, Aleister Black or anything. That would be a waste. We already got that with Cross last year. Chris Jericho, a lot of hints have been dropped, but we are getting, we are definitely getting hints of Jericho. And I can only think that it's the Raw after Mania. That would be the time to really bring him back for, whatever he's going to do, one more year, things like that. That we're all patiently waiting. We thought we're getting Jericho at Elimination Chamber, and we got Van Housen, who has been better. He's a good backstage guy. He is that comedic performer, wrestler, and sometimes that's needed. So yeah, Jericho. I think that's the Raw after Mania. A lot of hints, and I mentioned. Yeah, let's see here. I'm drawing blanks, guys. So Jericho, I think after Mania, and as for that, I don't know that there's anybody else that I could list that could be available for WrestleMania, but we are dead in the road to WrestleMania. It's going to be a fun ride. Let's see what happens. Let's see what matches we get. And again, every year I think they got to make it bigger and bigger. And whatever happens this year, I think will lead to next year. So for that, it is another episode of Fanatically Speaking. Again, I am Kent, and you can listen to the show on all podcast outlets. You can follow the show on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Keep up with the show, what episodes are out and available, what they're about. Go listen to the show on YouTube. No video, but you can listen. And, again, like it, share it, follow it. Really listen and like. Those are the big ones. Or listen and share. I'm sorry. Like it too, but, on social, that's okay. Follow the show on TikTok, especially, so I can go live. Still trying to get that number. I don't put out a lot of videos. It's mainly just for the episodes. My time is very limited at the moment. But again, yeah, go follow the show, and then maybe I can go live during, events like a WrestleMania or big games. And then again, whatever, device you listen to the show, tap that app. And for this episode, I am out.